Next Friday is Chuseok, right? Yeah, so this is Korean Thanksgiving time. People will get together and big time for family. But also in America, next week is the anniversary of a tragedy too. So on Wednesday is the remembrance of September 11th, the tragedy. And one of the things that those of us who are old enough, all of us will think, where were you? What were you doing at the time that you first heard about what happened with the World Trade Towers and what was happening? And so I was just reflecting on all the things that were going on providentially at that time as well. An amazing thing is that we planned to do a World Clergy Holy Blessing Ceremony in Manhattan on the 22nd. And so actually just maybe 20 blocks from the World Trade Towers, we had leaders from all over the country and clergy who were there preparing for this special interfaith blessing of marriage ceremony. So lots of clergy were already there in Manhattan, 20 blocks away from where this event happened. And actually the preparation for that event was built on a foundation of activities been happening all year long. Actually just a year before, at the end of 2000, the American Clergy Leadership Conference was established. And in the beginning, February of 2001, True Parents did a speaking tour. And they traveled to 52 cities in 52 days. They gave a speech in every city, every day for 52 days. They had all 50 states of the United States doing a speaking tour. The theme was rebuild the family, restore the community, and renew the nation and world. Breaking down the walls between races and denominations. And let's stand together and celebrate family and faith. So it was an amazing event. We talked about a whirlwind tour. Father Moon spoke about the importance of marriage, the sanctity of marriage. And in fact, there's an expression that we got from him, particularly when he was talking to the pastors. He said, your sexual purity is so important. It's so important for the health of your community and your society. So he said, no spare key. Right? The husband has the key to his wife's sexual organs. The wife has the key to her husband's sexual organs. And there's no spare key. No. So every time, some of us who sit in the audience kind of get a little bit embarrassed. He's talking all about sex. But no, he said, this is really important. Satan is attacking you powerfully through sex. No spare key. And especially as religious leaders and people of faith, you need to set a good example. And also in that speech, he talked about God's suffering heart, which is something people don't usually talk about. God's love for us and His suffering when His children are suffering. And he talked about the last days and the providence and restoration, the meaning of true parents, and the significance of Korea, and also the significance of America in God's providence, and about the blessing of marriage ceremony. In fact, at the end of that tour in May, one of the people from the association organized and did a National Service Award banquet to honor true parents to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award. So it was quite an amazing time, the involvement of all these different clergy from around the country. And then later that month, they did a blessing ceremony. The We Stand in Oneness Holy Blessing Ceremony of 60 couples of religious leaders. So all this was leading up to, okay, let's do 12,000 couples from clergy couples and do this blessing. And that's why they were in New York at that time, making preparation for that, on that kind of foundation. But then, the attack happened on the towers, and because they were so close, and very quickly, the clergy, all the clergy were there, responded. And went to the trade towers and were there, and since they could be there as support, ministering to the people who had victim family members, people who had died in the towers, also supporting the police and the firefighters and the caretakers and the other people who were on the site. So it was quite a dynamic and terrifying time. So when two parents heard about it, the two parents were in Alaska, Kodiak, Alaska at that time. And so Father did like a 3-day fast and just isolation, praying and seeking, what should we do? So then at that point he made the decision, okay, we're going to postpone the clergy marriage blessing. And they flew to New York and arrived on September 18th and met with the ministers and members there. And this is one of the things that he said. He says, Jesus was on the cross, and now America stands on the cross of the world. Now is the time to change everything. America and Americans must take the lead in practicing love your enemy. So if you think, what's the feeling at that time? You know, America's been tapped and struck. The feeling is, I want revenge. I want to go burn down something. And so Father Moon was saying over and over again, this is the time for America to really show the example to the world of loving your enemy and overcoming the pain and the tragedy of this event with the healing power of love. And so even just a few days after that, on the 22nd, they organized in Manhattan the National Interfaith Day of Prayer and Healing in Manhattan. So the Unificationists and American clergy leadership leaders, as well as other ministry and pastors from the region, gathered together. And they have this rally in Manhattan. Let's pray for healing for this nation and for this world. And then just less than a month after, I mean actually a little bit over a month after, maybe 5 or 6 weeks, Father Moon had us organize an international interfaith assembly. And the purpose of that assembly, this is the title, the search for the solution to critical global problems, in particular global violence, crisis, and hope. Now, this was sponsored by the International Interreligious Federation for World Peace and WANGO, which is the World Association of Non-Governmental Organizations, which are like social service organizations, nonprofits worldwide. And those two organizations now have been subsumed under the Universal Peace Federation. But it brought together 500 international leaders and VIPs from the politicians, diplomats, religious leaders from every faith tradition, media people, academic people, non-governmental organizations, and these nonprofit organizations, all together to focus on this issue. It was quite a phenomenal event to happen just a little over a month after 9/11, happening in Manhattan, bringing these people together. How are we going to address and solve this problem? Quite amazing, Judaism and Christianity and Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, all these different world religions were there. And these are people who are deeply concerned about what's happening in the world. So here's from Father Moon's address, The Path to World Peace. The 4 points, main points he made, which are familiar points to us, right? Live for the sake of others. That means loving. We serve others out of love. Family. Family is the fundamental building block for peace. The importance of interreligious reconciliation and cooperation. And also the role of the United Nations that it should play in bringing peace in the world. So, here's from his speech. Respected world leaders, a person who only talks about world peace without practicing it is not a true leader. Given the current world situation, cannot leisurely wait for the arrival of world peace while sitting down. Each of us, the ambassadors for peace and everyone else, must create world peace by all means. Let us all take active roles as leaders in the movement for peace. On the 3rd day of the last day of the Father Moon's parents pulled together 21 prominent religious leaders, including some rabbis that had come from Israel, some imams that had come from Pakistan. There was a Buddhist monk, Hindu, representatives to talk specific on how are we going to create a healing environment and the responsibility, the challenge that people of faith have to lead the way here. And not let revenge and anger and politics dominate the response. Interesting enough, since so much was focused on the Muslim community, Father Moon said, okay, we need to make a summit. We need to bring together leaders from the Muslim world to address this issue. So they organized a summit of world Muslim leaders in Jakarta, Indonesia. Actually, Indonesia has the largest population of Muslims of any country in the world. The largest Muslim country is Indonesia. So that was the place they had it. And they called people together. And the theme of it was Islam and the future of world peace. And this conference, it was paid for by us. We paid for the conference. We facilitated it happening, but the Muslim leaders, they were in charge. They were all the speakers, all the presenters, everything. And these unifications just were facilitating to make it happen, support it happening, to bring them together to focus on that issue of the challenge that Islam faces, particularly in the face of the rest of the world. So one of the things that they came up with was called the Jakarta Declaration. And I'll read some excerpts from it, not the whole thing, just some highlights. But they affirmed that Islam is a religion of peace and justice. From its core values emanates respect for life and human dignity, which affects all ideals and actions that determine the Islamic way of life. Islam rejects violence in any form against the innocent. In fact, it promotes justice and exhorts Muslims to be just, even if the injustice be against their own selves, their parents, or kinfolk. So, against revenge towards innocent people. Muslim leaders and scholars are responsible for and have a moral obligation to teach and promote knowledge about the fundamental ethics of Islam, thus providing the foundation for peace and peaceful coexistence and harmony in the world. All nations in the world must apply their energies at conflict resolution globally and be consistent at home and abroad in their concern for justice, freedom, and human rights. This was a very important point here. Dialogue toward harmony and understanding is a Muslim religious responsibility. As a consequence, people of all faiths must acknowledge, accept, promote, respect, and appreciate the diversity among the different faiths and cultures. So the leaders of Muslim leaders were encouraged and pushed that they have to be responsible to establish dialogue. And the purpose of interfaith dialogue is to remove the fear of the unknown. If we don't know what those people are like, we can think all kinds of things, that they're a monster. But when they become our friend, then we're no longer afraid of them. Also to generate goodwill through this interfaith dialogue and activity and mutual trust. So this is also one of the things that came out of this declaration, that it's also responsibility as religious leaders, particularly the Muslims, speaking of the Muslim leaders, to reach out for interfaith dialogue, to bring that kind of safety and security that can happen in the world when we live together in this diverse communities. So this is how they concluded. We pledge to be courageous defenders of peaceful teaching and interpretation of Islam, and to be exemplary peacemakers in our personal, family, and social conduct of our lives. May Allah bless this effort and forgive our shortcomings. One of the outcomes from the 9/11 was that we got a lot more participation, even here in Sacramento, in terms of interfaith activities from the Muslim community, especially the immigrant community, who kind of tend to be much more isolated. So, on the foundation of this, that God could work to open the door really wide to the Islamic community, but also is on the foundation of the victory and support of the Christian community, particularly the American Clergy Leadership Conference. So, the following year, around the anniversary, on September 14th, then the World Clergy Holy Blessing Ceremony was able to be held. And it happened, interreligious and international blessing of marriage, blessing and marriage rededication. There were 780 clergy couples that participated. And this was actually part of the 21 million couple blessing that was happening around the world. It's such a powerful experience, moving the blessing beyond just only for unification, but really gathering people from all different races and religious traditions with love in their heart, affirming the importance of marriage and family, and also to determine themselves to be people who will reconcile with others. There was even a quote in the New York Daily News that said, this kind of experience, this kind of event is really something that gives the world hope on the anniversary of 9/11. So, 3 years later, we have the Universal Peace Federation is established, bringing together the Interreligious International Federation for World Peace and all the different federations for world peace. Right? We had the Peninsula Federation for World Peace, and the Islander Federation for World Peace, and the Soccer Players Federation for World Peace. Father, Mother, great, all these federations for world peace, but they brought them all together under one umbrella, together with the Professors World Peace Academy and the World Media Association, and the Science Conference people, as well as the youth projects, the relief programs like the International Relief Friendship Foundation. All those came now under the umbrella of the Universal Peace Federation. And we even have some new ones now, right? The International Association for Parliamentarians for Peace, and the Association for Peace and Development, which is the interfaith. And again, they affirm, right, these 5 core principles for peace. And so I hope you have these really clear in your mind. You can share them, because this is something definitely to just share anytime with people. These are the core principles that we believe are essential for peace. Right? One is God. And God is God in everyone, the parent and loving source for everyone, regardless of the religion. That we have an eternal spirit, that we're divine beings, that we live forever. It's not just this physical world. And so it's important that we pay attention to moral and spiritual principles in our lives. The importance of marriage and family, that they're holy. Marriage and family is the foundation for relationships, the school of love, and the core for a healthy society and world. Service, living for the benefit of others, is the natural outgrowth, it should be the natural outgrowth of the love that we experience in our family. So when we talk about service, we're not talking about being a slave to someone. We're talking about service as a way of expressing love to others. We serve because we care. We give of ourselves, and sometimes we even sacrifice ourselves for the benefit of others because we love, because we care. Love is the motivation for that principle of service and living for the sake of others. And then finally, cooperation and communication. We have to work together across our differences and boundaries in order to bring peace to the world. So in addition to the Universal Peace Federation and all the activities that are the foundation for building practically peace in the world, I had a great conversation just the other day, an interfaith event, and we showed up, a couple of us showed up, and the event had been canceled. So it was out at the retreat center up in Carmichael, quite a beautiful place. So okay, there were 2 of us, so we just did a walk. We walked around the Stations of the Cross. It was really beautiful there, and just shared and could reflect a lot. And one of the things that I realized is so important about what the true parents are trying to do in the world for God is the foundation for everything is our own spiritual life. And so our own spiritual disciplines, of course, is the key to spiritual growth. But our eyes need to go beyond just ourselves. Our eyes need to be looking at, how do we be people who support and uplift God as a reality in the world? Uplift and support marriage and families as critical for healthy society. Recognize our moral and spiritual nature and affirming that when we make decisions in our lives. Living in service and practicing communication and cooperation with others. So the American Clergy Leadership Conference, also 9/11 and this 2000 and 2001 was really the kickoff that really began moving the American Clergy Leadership Conference forward. With the vision of being a prophetic voice that promoted family and peace to the leadership of the nation and the world, and lifting up the value of marriage and these key points. Here's the key mission: building the family, restoring the community, and renewing the nation and world. That's like the subtitle text of the American Leadership Conference mission. So when we talk about rebuilding the family, of course we're talking about the blessing of marriage and marriage rededication. We're talking about true family values. A lot of educational programs and many true family values banquets that have been happening around the country, and the churches and even on our own individual level, reaffirming the importance and critical nature of marriage and family for a healthy society and world, and particularly for families. Restoring the community is the social action projects and service projects that we do. But also it's the fellowship, the prayer breakfast, where we get people from different denominations, different races, and different groups together to fellowship together and create a sense of partnership to bring healing to the world. And also the work in character education to nurture young people to be leaders for the future, preparing those to be leaders. And for the nation and the world, the many national convocations that we've been having. Even just this last year, we had the ones in Los Angeles, and then Las Vegas, the Peace Starts With Me events. In Chicago, they'll be having a True Family Values banquet, and also in Washington, D.C. All leading up to a big event in New York on December 28th that we're all praying and focusing our energy towards. Christianity is a very important foundation for God's providence in America and God's providence in the world. God invested so much, and Jesus loves and cares so much for Christians, and has built such a strong foundation. And God has so much hope that foundation can genuinely bear fruit in supporting God's providence now. This next couple of months, along with Mother Moon's speaking tour, the plan is at the end of October to establish a Korean Clergy Leadership Conference, ACLC, and bringing a lot of the ACLC, the American Clergy Leadership Conference people, to Korea to support and to enhance and to make that really victorious in Korea. Bringing those clergy together for a common purpose and partnership, and see that there's a lot of breakthroughs happening there, especially because right now there's a lot of movement happening in Korea, much more independent churches. If you pay attention to the news, there's been so many tragic scandals for the really big Christian churches. People that are, people really is respected. Money and sexual immorality. It's so tragic, heartbreaking. And so there's so many now independent churches that they decide on themselves. Are they going to work together with other people? Well, pastor can go and pray himself and decide. He doesn't need a bishop or a hierarchy to tell him. So actually there's a real groundswell now happening in terms of support and cooperation, working together with the Family Federation in Korea. And on December 28th, that event in New York, Mother Moon plans the establishment of the World Clergy Leadership Conference. So we have the American, Korean, and then the World Clergy Leadership Conference, working in partnership to bring healing to the world. So in the next couple of months, this is kind of the offering table that each of us can look at. You know, on our individual level, our own spiritual life, our Hundake, our prayer life, our connection with God and our Heavenly Parent, connection with the Providence, and investing in tribal messiahship, being a blessing to the people around us. Of course, sharing the blessing of marriage, but with everyone that we care about. Investing, loving, serving them out of a heart of caring for them. All the people that we know. You know, whether they participate in the blessed ceremony or not, they're still our tribe. They're still the people we love and the people we care for. This is the foundation that God can work powerfully through. And also God, true parents, are hoping that we will invest as well in the Christian community. So I encourage you. I got the calling and the encouragement from headquarters. We really want to invest in Christianity. So I encourage you. Check out a local church or a congregation that's near you. Join the Bible study. Check them out. You know, especially ones that are open to the idea of working across traditions and uplifting the value and importance of marriage and the family. You know, people that hold those as strong values, those are people we want to partner with. We don't need them to change their religion or to join, you know, to drop their church. We're not trying to steal their members. We're looking for partners in building a world of peace. And this is really what the American clergy leadership is built on, is the foundation and how it's growing so quickly in amazing ways. So that's our internal foundation, our own spiritual life, our outreach and service to the people in the world around us, our neighbors, our friends. Again, find a church or two that you can visit, people that you like. If you don't like it, don't go back. You know, but the one that you feel good about. And just love and serve them, and invite them to participate when we do prayer breakfast. Not to get them to convert, but to get them to become partners and seeing God's will happening in more and more in the world. And then on an individual level, financially, let's support the National Victory Fund to support, of course, these conferences, but also that America can contribute to financially support the providence around the world. Instead of America just being a recipient, let's be the ones who contribute and support other countries in their victory. All leading up, but please include in your prayers this victory for the event, they call it the Mother of Peace. Peace Starts With Me event in December 28th. And if you can travel to New York, it's a great time. It's going to be the Christmas season. Pastor Thompson said he's flying out Christmas night. It's the cheapest day of the year to fly. No one wants to travel on that day. So he already booked his ticket. But and even to go and spend time and help do outreach in the New York City area or even Washington, D.C. area. Something to consider when you're looking at your Christmas time plans between Christmas and New Year's. So let me close with this from Mother Moon. This is from the anthology. Also, I encourage you, as part of the condition we're doing to support the victory of the event in December 28th, if you don't have it, get these anthologies. And the godbook.com, you can now get it online. So you can hear it every day, or you can just read through it every day. But I encourage you, our goal is to have everyone in the nation to have read those 4 books by the end of the year. So even we can offer up that as our Hundake, you know, to put before God that we've attended true parents and made this offering as well of our study, and particularly of true parents' words. So this is the speech from the speech that she gave, kind of the concluding remarks. Let us bring God back to America, that was given on True Mother's behalf at a True Family Values award banquet in 2015 in Chicago. So we read, God Our Heavenly Parent has abundantly blessed America as a pillar of His providence. Let this beautiful nation once again attend that Heavenly Parent. Let us revive and transform America into a nation where the ideals of the family are alive. A nation where the Heavenly Parent can freely move, dance, and sing together with us. If you devote yourselves to fulfilling this goal, heaven and the unified nation of Chonolgu will certainly remember each and every one of you. Please join me in prayer. Father, Mother God, our loving Heavenly Parent, we're so grateful for your precious love, for your presence in our lives, and the investment that you've made in each one of us that we could know you, especially because of our true parents, the sacrifice of so many people who have gone before us, all of the saints and sages of history, and especially the many Christian martyrs, Heavenly Parent, who've given everything for the sake of you and your providence of healing and restoration. Heavenly Parent, we stand in such a precious time in human history, and we repent to you, and that so oftentimes we get so dominated and preoccupied with the small problems that are bothering us, Heavenly Parent, and forget the great heartache and pain that you're suffering, the grief that you've had to endure throughout all of human history, and that now is a time when we can make a difference. Heavenly Parent, thank you so much for the way that you're working and guiding us. Please open our hearts and our minds that we can recognize the opportunities to share your love with others, to share your truth, to uplift you in front of people, to uplift the marriage and family, to uplift the values of service and living for the sake of others, and the reality that we are spiritual beings, not just materialistic beings, that we're your children, meant to live lives of fulfillment and joy. Heavenly Parent, thank you so much. And offer up our determination, especially leading to the end of this year and the victory of the Korean Clergy Leadership Conference and the World Level Clergy Conference, Heavenly Parent, through the rally and event that will be happening in New York on December 28th. So, in the days leading up to that, please receive our offering of heart and devotion to make it truly a victory for you, a victory for this nation of America, and a victory for the world. Heavenly Parent, we're so grateful. As your sons and daughters, we offer ourselves again to you. Amen. Jude.